In this video, we will take you through the second stage of applying for planning permission, preparing and submitting your planning application. By now, you will ideally have engaged with your local planning authority about your development proposal. You may have made some changes and engaged an architect and other specialists to assist with the preparation of your planning application. There are two key steps in the next stage: giving notice and preparing and submitting your application. Let's go through each one. Step 1. Giving notice. Giving notice means that you let the public know what you intend to apply for permission for. You give notice in two ways. 1. By putting a notice in one of the local authorities' approved newspapers circulating in your locality, and 2. By erecting a site notice at the entrance to your site from the public road. You need to make sure the site notice is visible, legible, and in place for at least 5 weeks from the date that your planning application is received by the planning authority. You can check your local planning authority's website for the information that must be included in these notices and for a list of approved newspapers. Your planning application must be received by your local planning authority within 2 weeks of these notices being published and erected. Step 2. Prepare and submit your application. There are 7 parts to your planning application, so now is the time to make a checklist and get organised. You will need to include the completed application form, copies of the public notices from Step 1. If you do not own the land or the building, you will need a letter of consent from the owner, 6 copies of a site location map, six copies of a site layout plan, 6 copies of the plans, elevations and sections of your proposal. And lastly, the correct fee. It is so important to go through your checklist and make sure everything is included. If not, your application may be considered invalid and returned to you with your fee. So, what happens now that you have submitted your planning application? Here is what you need to know. Remember the public notices you gave? Members of the public may make a written submission or observation on your application within 5 weeks of the application being lodged. They must also pay a prescribed fee. The planning authority will take any submissions or observations into account when they are considering your application. Your local planning authority will make a decision within 8 weeks from the day the application is submitted. However, they might ask you for further information. If they do this, then you should receive a decision from the planning authority within 4 weeks of you submitting the further information. The planning authority is responsible for the proper planning and sustainable development of your local area. As well as submissions from members of the public, they will take into account the development plan and any local area plan, government, regional and strategic policies, planning guidelines issued by the Minister, sites designated for conservation under EU law, and types of conditions that can be attached. Now you have navigated your way through the first 2 stages of the planning process. We will explain what happens when your local planning authority makes a decision on your application, how you will be notified, and, should you wish to do so, how you can appeal the decision. Please visit the next video in our series for a step-by-step guide through the planning, decisions and appeals stage.